moving to another sport, tennis has some superstars. One of them is Mr. Djokovic. I hope I'm pronouncing his name. Who won his fourth consecutive Grand Slam, added the French Open to his collection for the first time in his career. And Serena Williams, possibly the greatest American women tennis player in history, lost a surprising final to Garbine, and I'm sure I'm butchering this name, Muguruza. Apparently very talented, kind of under the radar for those who don't follow the sport closely, but very talented. And at 35 years of age, some people are beginning to wonder about Serena Williams' future. I think they would be well advised to withhold their sympathy for the time being.
The enduring career that she's had at that age, playing all over the world with all those expectations and early mountains that she had to climb because of background. She is one of the most extraordinary players of any gender of tennis or sports that I've ever seen. At this stage and age, and for all the tournaments she's played, it's unreasonable to expect that she's going to win the, for example, high percentage of tournaments that Djokovic is winning now, because, Federer's been around. There's only so long you can maintain that level in such a grueling sport, played all over the world. I've been a tennis fan for a long, long time, and Djokovic is real, for damn sure. He's one of the best we've seen in years, and there have been some sensational players. But Serena is a legend several times over, and she's still very dangerous, especially on hard surfaces. She'll still be winning some big tournaments. You can count on that.
Tom, before we go to our final commercial break, a couple of items, baseball items that don't directly concern the Pirates that I want to mention. First of all, something amazing happened yesterday. Jake Arrieta lost the game. After 20 consecutive wins over a 2-year period, he was finally defeated. His streak of winning 20 consecutive starts was ended last week when he got a no decision, but I don't think anybody pays any attention to that. It's the consecutive wins. And I've got to admit that I was rooting for him to lose, not because I dislike Jake Arrieta, because I don't dislike him at all. I admire what he's accomplished. But the player above him, with 22 consecutive wins over 2 consecutive seasons, was our own Elroy Face. Carl Hubble is first with 24, but I was anxious to see Elroy remain in that second spot, because 22 was a great achievement, and we lived through most of that, didn't we?
How about 18 in 1 year?
18 in 1 year.
For a closer. But yeah, but I must say that I didn't, package up your interest in, a relief pitcher compared to a starter, quite a different story, especially when sometime. I mean, Elroy Face is a critical part of the terrific era, including the 1960 World Series upset of the Yankees. But Arrieta has been just magnificent, and it's interesting. He only went a short distance in this game because he struck out too many people. He had thrown over 100 pitches in 5 and a fraction innings, and struck out 12 guys. And, you know, in a normal situation, they might have come back and won. But he has been phenomenal. But at the same time, you know, last year you had this three-headed monster action of these great guys, you know, with Kershaw, Arrieta, and
Baumgartner?
Greinke.
Oh, Greinke, yes.
Baumgartner was very good, but he wasn't.
Yeah, he was fourth.
Incredible class of three, and he wanted them that could have won the Cy. But Kershaw this year is still the man this year. Although Arrieta is a phenomenal pitcher, and his ability to pitch in the same slot with such ease. He is very physically strong too. So, yeah, quite a streak, quite a player. Those two guys at the top of their rotation are going to be tough to mess with.
I gotta say, they go four deep. And
yeah, they go four deep, but two of them are platinum.
Right.
And that's not very common these days.
Well, two other items, Tom. Alex Rodriguez is back from the disabled list and is moved to within 6 home runs of 700 career, which would make him one of the 4 players in that group. And the one that I really want to salute for veteran greatness, and I know you agree with this, is Ichiro Suzuki, who is now less than 35 hits away from 3,000 career hits, which is an amazing feat in itself. But that's 3,000 career hits in the United States. It doesn't count the thousands of hits that he had in Japan during his storied career when he was at the peak of his physical skills. And not only at the age of 42 or 43, whatever his age is, does he continue to hit like a professional hitter. But one of the reasons why we had so much trouble in Florida was his defensive play in center field. The man can still do it with the bat and with the glove. And good for him.
Well, he also made, just as an addendum to what you just said about this amazing dude, he made a spectacular leaping catch in right field yesterday. That was a highlight catch. He's still a very good base runner, a great punter, and a great influence. And yeah, you have to take all your hats off to him. One other guy that I would have to mention when you talk about a real veteran warrior, you just can't not mention as we get closer towards the All-Star break. You cannot fail to mention or even think about Ortiz. He is having a spectacular year for the Red Sox. It's also his persona that helped lead them and be an example to the dynamite young players that are scorching the earth. And the Red Sox have suddenly rebounded again to be a threat. But Ortiz is having a sensational, this is his Willie Fargo imitation, and it's a good one.
Tom, one of the reasons I'm glad you mentioned All-Star is that our program next week is going to consist mainly of a review of the first 2 months or so of the baseball season, and in anticipation of All-Star game selections, we're going to talk about the players who deserve All-Star game consideration from the 2 leagues, and I'm sure that David Ortiz is going to be very high up in our discussions.
Well, I imagine that the die is already cast about what his role is going to be.
Oh, yeah. One good thing about the DH, it really works in All-Star games to have a DH spot for the great hitters, old-time hitters like David Ortiz. Business and study the one great prospect from another, and who knows who's going to succeed 5 years down the road. But what is of interest is the two local players. Potential first-round picks. Pitcher C.J. Block, B-A-U-C-H, and some high school outfielder Alex Kirilloff. Supposedly a great prospect as a hitter, and if Pitt would have a first-round draft pick, I think that would really be a tremendous boost for a program which has been on the upgrade for several years, but now has its hands full in the very tough Atlantic Coast Conference.
Well, I think the draft, what has happened and evolved in baseball that's most important is that the players coming out of the draft and making impact or coming for wherever they're coming from, whether it's the U.S. draft or not, guys are making huge impacts at a younger age at the major league level than ever before. And that isn't going to change anytime soon because players are going to exit earlier. Not all of them. Look at David Ortiz. But the young players and the impact they have early in their careers is way, way more advanced than it has been in the past. So the draft is more important than ever, and teams are very anxious when they can is to get extra draft choices rather than not, unless they're giving up stuff to get important major league players for a pennant race. Big change in that regard in the philosophy, in the execution, in running a baseball franchise.
And because of that, and because of the effect it has on the relative strengths of younger players versus established veterans, I believe you and I both expect that this is going to be a big topic of conversation during the next negotiations for the collective bargaining agreement.
Well,
the union is going to want changes.
Well,
maybe both sides are going to want changes.
Both sides want changes about a lot of things. Economics, this, that, the other thing, what we just talked about.